Hi there, Andrei Maximov is here. Welcome back to our quick introduction to Python 3 for AWS Automation Engineers course. This course is completely free and available for you at hands-on.cloud website. In this course, we are covering Python basics and of course various different aspects of using Boto3 library to automate your daily AWS routine operations. In this video, we will cover how Boto3 library is working under the hood, how it is interacting with botocore, a lower level API library which allows it to work with AWS API endpoints, and of course we will take a look at the differences between Boto3 clients and Boto3 resources. If you are ready to dive into the topic, let's get started. Okay, as you can see from your screen right now, Boto3 library is not the only library which interacts with botocore. AWS CLI is also heavily relying on botocore library to make an API calls to AWS API endpoints. How those API calls look like and how the responses from those requests look like, we will show you in a couple of seconds. As for now, let's take a deeper look at two primary factory methods which you're gonna be using in your Python scripts or Lambda functions or any other Python automation which you're gonna be building to interact with your AWS cloud. The first factory method is called Boto3 client. This factory method is responsible for creating so-called Boto3 clients. Those are the classes which allows you to interact with every single AWS service. For example, if you are willing to interact with AWS EC2 service, you have to create a separate client to interact with it. If you are willing to interact with the AWS IAM, you have to create a separate client to interact with the AWS IAM service. Every single client, depending on the service, will provide you a whole bunch of methods which allows you to interact with the service itself and make certain actions. For example, if we are speaking about AWS IAM service and the client itself, the client will give you permissions to create, delete, list, and describe actions for the groups, roles, policies, and some other things. So every single time you're going to be calling the method from Boto3 client, you will be returned back a Python dictionary which will represent the actual response from the AWS service. Working with Boto3 clients allows you to develop a thread-safe multi-threaded applications in automation scripts, of course. If we are speaking about Boto3 resources, those are working in the same way. The only exception here is that not all the AWS services supported by Boto provide you a resource factory method. So Boto3 library is evolving. So if you did not find a resource factory method for your specific service, please come back later and hopefully AWS will provide a support for your service as well. So what the Boto3 resource is? Basically, Boto3 resource is a high-level wrapper on top of a Boto3 client, and every single Boto3 resource is actually using the Boto3 client under the hood. When you are using Boto3 resources, you primarily be working with the class objects instead of Python dictionaries. So, for example, if you are willing to, I don't know, create an IAM role, you will need to utilize an IAM resource in the role class provided by this particular resource. If you are willing to list the roles from the IAM service, you will need to utilize a roles collection, which will return you back a collection of classes, and you're going to be using a for loop, for example, to iterate through the collection and do certain actions with the returned classes. So how to implement all those things, we will show you at the end of this video. As for now, let's dive deeper into the actual communication of botocore and AWS services. So let's continue our example of working with AWS IAM service, and let's pretend that we are willing to list IAM roles which are available in our AWS account. So first thing you have to do is to define a client for the IAM service, and then using this client you have to call a list roles method. Probably you may provide a couple of supported parameters over here. We will not dive deep to the method itself. We will cover it in our later videos. As for now, just imagine that we use this list roles method, and that's exactly what's happening under the hood. Boto3 client, Boto3 IAM client will use botocore library to construct an actual HTTP request to the IAM service. By default, it's going to be using publicly available AWS API endpoint URL. In our case, it's going to be iam.amazon.aws.com, and then in the request, it's going to provide the actual action, which is going to be list roles, and parameters, which and the method arguments which you provided in the actual method call. In addition to that, the botocore library will add a version of the actual API to interact with the AWS service, and of course authentication parameters. Now, if your user have a specific permissions and privileges to make this API call, the AWS service, in our case Identity and Access Manager or AWS IAM, will return back an XML document which will contain the actual response to the API call. Then botocore library will take this XML and transform it to the Python dictionary, so that your Python program at the end will have an ability to work with the Python native supported Python dictionary instead of like parsing XML, and that's exactly the benefit of using botocore library over here. So this Python dictionary will contain a list of roles, and every single role within this list is going to be represented within a nested dictionary which will describe the actual role. It will contain such keys like path, role name, role ID, ARN, and many others. So as soon as these responses get back to you, that response will be assigned to the response variable, and you will be working with it like with a native Python dictionary. For example, if you are willing to use a Boto3 resource instead of Boto3 client, and the resources are supported for this service, instead of calling a list roles method for the resource, you will be accessing Boto3 IAM resource collection. In our specific case, it's going to be roles collection. And this collection will have a couple of methods like all and or filter, and all those methods will basically simply provide you a collection of classes which you will be iterating through to get access to every single class which represents every single role. And if you need to access to the actual role attributes, you're going to be accessing the actual class attributes to get access to the role path, role name, and many other parameters which are available through the class attributes. That's it for now, and now it's probably a good idea to show you how to get this information through the official Boto3 documentation. So if you will open Boto3 official documentation resource, which is available for you at boto3 amazonaws.com, and go to the documentation, available services, and then the service name. You will have a table of contents over here. So as I already mentioned, if the service implementation in Boto supports resources, then you will have this special link like service resource. And of course, if you are willing to interact with the clients, then you have to review this client link first. So let's open those two links in separate tabs and take a look what's inside of here. So as you can see, this is the client. This is how we are creating Boto3 client to interact with the IAM service. And the service provides us a whole bunch of API methods, right? So we were reviewing list roles method. So as soon as you are clicking the list roles method, you will be able to see the actual method signature, which clearly tells you what kind of parameters does this API call expect from us. It might be a path prefix, marker, or maximum amount of items returned back to us. So, and of course, if we will scroll down a little bit, we will be able to see the actual not JSON, but Python dictionary data structure, which you will be getting back from executing this method. This is quite useful when you're going to be developing your Lambda functions or interacting with other services. You will be always able to take a look how the actual dictionary looks like and how you can get access to various different parameters, and of course what kind of parameters are available for you for every single method response. So now let's go to the actual resources section for the IAM service. Of course, at the top of the screen, you will see how to define the resource. As you can see, it's defined similarly. Instead of client, here we are defining the resource through the resource method. Now, the resource itself provides you a whole bunch of methods to create an entities for the service, like group, policy, role, user, and many others. Of course, this service provides you a whole bunch of classes which represents the service entities, like groups, roles, policies, and others, and of course a list of collections. So what we are interested in here is definitely a role class and role collection. So the role class is basically defined like this. So if you are defining the role class and provide the role name here in the constructor of the class, you will be able to get access straight to the actual IAM role. Of course, if you have all necessary permissions. And this class will give you an access to all these class attributes, which represents the actual information about the role, like ARN, creation date, path, role ID, role name, and many others. And of course, in addition to that, it will give you additional methods which you can use to attach policy, detach policy, delete the role. Okay, so now we can go straight forward to the actual roles collection. As I already mentioned, this collection contains a couple of methods. One is all, another is filter. So the all method will return back a collection which contains all the required, all the roles available within the account. And filter allows you to filter those roles by the path prefix, for example, right? So that's basically it for you need to know what exactly you need to know about the IAM client and IAM resource and the differences between those two. Now let's jump into the Cloud9 ID and take a look how those things are actually implement it and try to get access to the actual attributes or the response objects. Okay, we are at my Cloud9 IDE, and I already created a separate folder and a couple of Python scripts which are supposed to illustrate us an examples of interacting with the IAM service using the client and the resource. In both examples, we will be listing roles from our AWS account. So let's start from the client first. As you can see, the first thing I'm doing here is importing Boto3 module. Then I'm defining the client to interact with the IAM service itself. At the next line, I'm creating a paginator which wraps up the method which is called list roles, which we discussed in the previous part of the video. The primary purpose of using paginator over here is because your AWS account might have lots and lots of different roles defined in it, and the amount of those roles stored in your AWS account might exceed the actual limit of the records which AWS service can reply to you back in the response. So in that specific case, you have two options. Option number one is to use an implemented paginator if you have it and it is supported for the specific client. Not all AWS clients support this embedded paginator. If that's the exact case for your specific service, you have to implement pagination by yourself. In our case, luckily, we have a paginator method, and it simplifies basically the interaction with this particular method. So how it is working? The paginator has a paginate method which returns pages, basically the data structures which contains the information, a chunk of information received from AWS service. And then, based on the specification of the return information from the list roles method, we will be working with a dictionary which return back in the page variable to get access to the roles and then to the very specific role attributes. So first of all, let's execute the script, and then I will show you what exactly is happening at every single stage of the script execution. So to do that, we are typing like Python Boto3 overview and then client. And as you can see, we fulfilled this empty list of AWS roles with the roles names. So where we are getting this information from? Let's comment those last lines over here and use this and then comment this print statement, and of course import of JSON module. So what's going on at this line 11? Basically, I'm gonna be printing a page data structure, or the data structure is stored in a page variable, which returned by the paginator, right, with the correct indentation. So let's save the file and execute the script. And of course, I will feed it to the less utility to have an ability to scroll up and down. And as you can see, the page itself contains lots of roles, and every single role is represented with within a nested Python dictionary. So what's happening in those two lines over here is that basically we are iterating through the roles list through this data structure, and for every single role, this nested Python dictionary, we are getting access to the role name, to this key, and that's the exact information which we will append to this empty list, every single iteration is happening over here. And finally, of course, at the line 15, we are printing the actual list of role names which we got from this dictionary. That's exactly how the script is working. Okay, now let's take a look how we are working with the resources. So as you can see, the code of resources contains less lines, so it's way more easier to read. Now, first of all, let's execute the code itself. So instead of calling the client, let's call the resource, and you will see pretty much the same output over here, right? And the logic gonna be pretty much very similar. So first of all, we are importing Boto3 library. Then we are creating a Boto3 resource. Of course, we have an empty list where we're gonna be storing IAM role names. Then we are basically iterating through the collection of roles which return from the roles collection after calling all method, and we are getting access to the role name through the role variable over here. So first of all, to get a better understanding how it is working, let's comment those two lines and call and print the output of this call first. So now we are expecting to get a collection of service resources of class IAM role, and that's the exact information which we rely on to get access to the fields, right? So now instead of printing the actual roles, instead of printing the actual collection, let's try to print the actual role, and we should see the a list of classes over here, and each of those classes has a name which represents its own role. Now we can access every single class attributes to get any attributes from the very specific role. For example, instead of printing the role name, we can get access to the ARN, and let's print it over here very quick. And as you can see, we are printing a whole bunch of role ARNs which are available in our AWS account. And again, all these attributes available for every single class of the resource are described in Boto3 documentation. So that's it for this specific video. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to the channel and push the thumbs up down to let us know and other users know that this video was useful for you. Thank you for your attention. We're gonna be releasing new videos quite soon. Please stay tuned.